fucking easy. Just telling him, hey, let's talk to Bob about the Wurm Flesh stuff. And we were working with the man previously, and we didn't, it just didn't work out. So talked to Bob. Bob was like, yeah, let's do it. And then Bob was excited about it, so we got in there pretty quick. And I think I laid down drums for an hour, which is insane. So it's just like, Bob just knows how to get it, capture the things. And then all of these guys had, you know, pretty easy time recording too, from what I hear. And then Bob was like, I've never worked with a band who was so on top of their shit that, so it was cool that it was mutual. Like, we like working with Bob. Bob likes working with us, and we like what he did. So
yeah, it's good to go in there just having your shit ready though, because that would make it way cheaper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Bob appreciates it, because he's not, he's not trying to.
You're not there to learn the songs. You're there to record the songs.
Yeah.
Bob ain't there trying to fucking but Bob ain't there trying to scrape every dime out of your pocket.
No. He's not rushing you either, but he's just the way he works is just let's go, let's do it, and get the best take, and definitely make sure, like, are you cool with that? Does that sound good to you? Like, yeah, let's move on then.
That's awesome.
Even when I was laying down vocals, God, I went in there. I think it took longer to set up than, not really, but it was about an hour and a half to lay out vocals for the initial vocal tracks. And even during that time, I was like, man, I'm kind of hearing some stuff with the guitar recording, because we kind of did that at the other guy's place.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, there's some parts I'm not hearing every note getting that proper, like, I don't know, clarity. If it's 8 or 16 notes, I'm not giving each note the same amount of picks. Can we clean that up? He's like, yeah, fuck yeah. And I punched in. I probably made about 30 minutes worth of corrections. Well, I'm sorry, not 30 minutes in turns, but like 30 minutes playing total, several corrections on a handful of songs, and boom, done within that 30-minute window to make these minute corrections that I thought would bump up the quality of the guitar playing.
Yeah.
And so
that's exactly what happened with me. Like one take for each song. You go back and you correct the fuck ups that you have, which honestly wasn't many, because we rehearsed like like crazy. So I was in there for like 45 minutes, man.
That's awesome.
It was the same for me. That included like his like whatever he was fucking doing,
Yeah. That's crazy. That's fast.
Yeah.
It only took me an hour.
And the tone that he got on that bass was fucking just gnarly.
God, Bo, let Joseph talk.
You said it took about an hour, Joe?
Yeah, it took about an hour. Same with vocals too. It took about an hour.
Yeah.
Probably one of the quickest, smoothest guys I've ever worked with.
Well, that makes it easier for everybody. There's no stress. Go in there, get it done, and just
doesn't talk your head off. Isn't totally over opinionated.
Oh boy, God, we can talk about God damn.
He's very business straight. Let's get this going, you guys. Let's rock.
That's awesome.
He's a pro.
I mean, he's worked with so many bands. I think he's got it set up where he knows exactly what to do when you walk in. So
yeah, I'll probably track everything I ever do with him.
Yeah.
I won't go elsewhere. And Bob's
there's no reason. He's the best around, and and he's a buddy of ours. So that always
makes it even better. Yeah.
And he's in the same studio that we have, like in the same location. So it's super convenient.
That's awesome though. Yeah.
So we practice in this gated complex in this industrial part of Sacramento, and it's called Sac Rehearsal Studios. And it's just, who knows what it used to be, but it's just this big warehouse type thing with like hundreds of rehearsal studio rooms, right?
Yeah.
And where our room is situated in the building is literally the hall over is Bob.
That's cool.
So it's like, you don't even have to go out in the sun to get your stuff to go record. It's like, you don't have to pack up. You don't have to put it in your car. You don't have to break your back hanging out. It's like, all right, put the drums on the dolly. Cabs can roll right in, and boom. I mean,
and you're good. Yeah.
Back in the room. Yeah. You
don't. As long as it takes to set up the drums and put everything up, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
It's like meant to be.
Yep.
Yeah, it's dope.
And Bob's our age, man. So he's not like this 50-year-old dude he's just a young cat who's probably he's probably been recording people for as long as we've all been playing live. Yeah. At least since about the same time Mitch was probably, I don't know, we're probably 17, 18. Bob's been recording. He's roughly our age.
Yeah, I mean, if he's on Animosity, that was what, 2002?
Yeah.
I mean, at least
Well,
2002, probably around there.
he did like their first couple of EPs.
Oh, so that's like 2000, 2001.
Yeah, like 2010 maybe, like I don't know, 2009, that era. He was pretty heavy in that deathcore scene.
The Sacramento come up deathcore stuff.
Yeah, 2007, 2009, he was fucking pumping these records out for these guys, and they were all sounding good. So
yeah,
especially back then, he wasn't doing a lot of sound replacement or anything too. It was all kind of raw.
That was the best part of that era to me.
Yeah, but I still love that about him too, because he understands that we do want some of that raw. Just makes it sound better for that.
I don't want robotic fucking guitar picking. I want to hear
exactly. It's not a computer actually doing
Yeah.
But a lot of that comes down to how prepared we are as musicians
as well.
Exactly. Like how much, to me, some of that depends on like, okay, you're not playing this right. I'm going to pitch correct to you, or I'm going to do whatever. So a lot of that comes down to it. I think this is probably what Bob appreciates. It's not that we're perfect. It's probably that we're like 98% there and it was only 2% tweaking.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but we end up playing these songs live before we ever get a chance to really put them on tape. So we're familiar with all the tempo changes.
Yeah.
We've done all the producing that we feel that the producing can need. So we don't go in there not knowing how to structure our songs. We've already figured out what works. And I gotta give that to Mitch, man. I call Mitch like the producer in the band. We come to him with the riffs. Sometimes they're solid, but sometimes it's like, bro, that doesn't work. You need to write it like those riffs on their own work, but you gotta fucking create a better bridge between those.
Yeah.
We gotta drop something. Mitch, I don't know. Mitch has that production ear.
It's always good to have someone like that though, where it's not even production ear. It even just might be a new set of ears because you write a riff and you're like, that's the sickest thing ever. But in your brain, you're kind of, you don't know if there's another part.
I know how to connect it in my brain because I'm writing it. I'm playing it. Oh, yeah, that all connects. It works. And then,
We just talked about that in practice the other day.
Yeah.
Regarding something different, but it was the same thing. Like it connects in Rob's brain, but it doesn't connect necessarily in the other people's brains.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of collaborate to make it work.
Yeah.
So we all understand it together.
It's the click track. I personally don't necessarily need the accent notes, but then again, I have to make it universal for everyone to follow. So
he fixed it, and it's fucking great now. Like as far as I'm concerned, it's great.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, speaking of all the playing, do you guys have shows coming up, tours, anything special?
August 16th.
August 16th, local show at the Ramp, and then we play late Los Angeles at Los Angeles Extermination Fest, and who knows? We just got on board with EMG management, and we're it's kind of a build up and building the relationship with them. So we'll see what happens at the end of this year.
That's awesome. You got to go out just to support your EP, or?
Well, we kind of been playing the songs live, but we're gonna obviously support the EP now. Now it's like we have the EP, come check it out, and but we're all with Arachnid, luckily as well. I've been able to get some friends with the fest, so we're all trying to figure out how to create backpack flying rigs for sometime in 2025 to really start hitting the fest circuit. Because you can't make tours out of everything, man. It's just not possible. We can't take the work off or the time off work.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we all have a fun together, flying out and then flying back for a Saturday show and then being home is a little bit more feasible. So
Okay, so
we just need to win the lottery. I bought 2 tickets today, so if that happens, we're covered. We can start doing tours.
I think we're all waiting for that to happen, especially in this state. That's the only way to live out here. California's expensive.
Yeah,
that's damn right it is.
So you guys were kind of talking about like the writing process. Do you get riffs first, like you write on your computer with the metronome, and then you hand it to people, or do you guys write all together? Or
I personally don't like writing to the I'll play and practice to a metronome, but I don't like writing to one because I feel anything like that can stagnate the creativity. But then what happens is I bring the riff in, it's rough. It may not all be the right timing. And Mitch helps me hammer that out. He's, hey, man, you're playing this a little bit off. Are you meaning to do that? And I'm like, I'm not sure. And then we hammer it out. And then right around there, Mitch will put on a click and a metronome and be like, okay, This is BPM roughly. So
yeah. Okay, so yeah, that seems to be a pretty standard.
Kind of, because
I have programmed my drums.
We do hash it out quite a bit before we think about, an actual, tempo and all that. We kind of just play it a lot, play everything a lot and try to get a feel for what sounds good. And, like if the song is coming together, like if there's 4 or 5 riffs, and are we going to repeat that one? Are we going to bring that back? We need something here in the middle. We need a drum fill there. Or should we put a lead over this? Or should we write something for a lead there? That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Kind of how we hash it out first, and then we kind of finalize it, and then we'll play it live and see how it goes. And then there's your song.
How many days a week do you guys practice?
1, maybe 2 sometimes.
That's cool though. Yeah, that's perfect. It's a perfect amount.
We all rehearse at home though. And Mitch practices several days a week with his other band, so he's hitting the drums like 3-4 days a week.
Okay.
It's just got the least amount of responsibilities in terms of family life. Like I got kids. Bo's got a niece that is almost like his daughter. Joe's got his, his daughter and son. So we kind of have family lives. Mitch is the bachelor, so he's like, I got nothing to do with my time. Go play drums, eat steak, drink beer.
Be metal as fuck all day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I try and practice every day though. I touch the bass every day, at least for a half an hour. I go through the set, and then that's usually my practice.
One of my goals in the new year was, because I kind of was unmotivated at the end of the year to do any of this kind of stuff, interviews, anything. I kind of was like, fuck this, it's boring. I don't really, you get in that zone. But this year I was like, I'm going to play guitar every day, and I'm going to try to get as many interviews done as I can. So far this year, that you guys are my 5th interview since February.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
So I'm trying to push them out like every other month, try to get something out there just so we can, do whatever. So yeah, I mean, you get unmotivated sometimes, and it's good.
It's all about momentum. You just got to do it, even if it sucks and you don't feel like it.
Yep.
And then you build momentum, and then it just, it gets easier, man.
If you can tell, I haven't been moving very much today because I went to the lake and went to Berryessa and I got sunburned as shit on my back. So I'm not moving at all right now. My shirt's all rubbing on it. But it happened.
Oh, so you're local?
Yeah, I live in Vallejo.
Nice.
Okay, cool, nice.
Valley Joe.
Yeah. So,
Valley Joe. Yeah.
Like I said, I heard of you guys through Ryan from Body of Filth, because I used to play in bands with Ryan all the time when we were younger. And then he went to Vegas and all that stuff, and then that's how I met Rob. And then
What bands were you in back in the day with Ryan?
So back when I was in Sacramento days, I was in a band called The Rain the Guillotine.
Okay. When I moved back out to Sacramento, Ryan was doing Emissary of Fire with James, I think, at the time. So
he was in Escalon when I was.
Yep, and Escalon. Yep, there was Emissary of Fire, then Escalon.
I think that's how it was, because I believe after Escalon he moved.
Yeah. Yep.
And I know that Chase took over for The Rain the Guillotine, and Chase was their singer. Our singer left, and we picked up Chase because his style fit better with our deathcore than their poppy style. So, yeah.
Fun fact: me and Mitch were in a band 2006 and 2009 called Sever the Flesh, which is weird because like both the bands we've been in have the name Flesh.
Flesh in it.
How Bo got into the Wurm Flesh is because he'd been coming to shows, and I was always poking and prodding, like, "Are you trying to play, or what are you doing?" And and then all of a sudden we needed a bass player, and I was like, "Hey, dude."
And I'm not gonna lie, as much as it hurt the last bassist to exit, I think Mitch and I knew his foot was kind of always halfway out the door or out the door while one foot was in. Because he dropped things like, if I go on tour with this band and they hire me, I'll teach another bassist. So it's like, all right, so your mindset is already kind of around I don't plan on being in this thing forever, especially if something better comes along, which is fine. The dude's young, talented. He's in Mitch's band, Catholic, right now. So, and nothing but love for the guy. But I think when it happened, Mitch and I weren't necessarily surprised. It sucked because he's talented as fuck. But it was like, But I
feel like Bo fits the music way more.
Yeah.
This is like my style. I've always loved playing like raw death metal.
Yeah.
Just so it was a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Plus my association with Mitch, and I already knew Rob. I had just met Joe, but me and Joe are like homies and brothers now. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, when did me and you first meet, man? Like 20. We met through, of course,
I met you
Roel.
through Andy.
Was it through? And I met Andy through Fred and Roel. So that was like what, 2011 ish?
Yeah, probably. It was when
Yeah.
Andy. It was when Andy was in Bad Mortis. So.
Yeah. Well, I met you guys in the FO days too, because Wurm Flesh opened for
Yeah,
you guys,
that's
and
right.
I knew Roel, and of course, so I think I backlined SoCal Flesh Fest in like 2011 or something like that. And that's when I started. I met Fred. Fred introduced me to Roel, and I was getting familiar with you guys. And somehow Wurm Flesh hooked up a show with you dudes in 2014 when it was just like Mitch and me, and we sucked at the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then so Joe, I met Joe when he was in the Forever Obscured, and then he was in Bad Morta, and then all that fell apart during COVID. And Joe went through some personal stuff. I don't want to say it, Joe, unless you're comfortable with it, but I was like, I kind of want to ask Joe to join. I was talking to Mitch about this. Like, I kind of want to ask Joe to join, but like, he's going through some shit. I don't know if that looks selfish. Like, hey, I know you're going through a bunch of life trauma and bullshit right now, but do you want to play music? Like, that's not always at the top of people's lists when they're going through shit. So,
For sure.
Yeah, I remember that day. I was wearing that Wurm Flesh long sleeve you gave me when I did the music video.
That's hilarious. So the day it just
And you called me at work, and I was like, I didn't even hesitate. I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's do this."
Hell yeah.
It was Helltown.
So what made y'all want to play the style that you play? Like, was there a band, a song? There like this is where we get about nerding out. You know what I mean? Like, so
how many hours you got, man? Shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We have 3 minutes on this video left, and we're gonna switch to the other link that I sent you, and then we'll have another 40. If we have to do longer, I'll just make another one, and we can do another one if you want. But yeah, so in about 3 minutes, this will end, and we'll do the other link.
let's maybe we should pause on that because that could be a lengthy story, man.
Well, let me get to another one then. Let's find a smaller question. So what's your favorite song to play live? That could probably be quickly. Maybe not.
Okay.
Mine is Defenestration.
Right there with you, man. Same.
I don't know. I like Defenestration a lot, but Brow Crusher is always a fun one to play live because I just up the tempos by 20 BPMs and I don't.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I mean?
I have become a favorite of. I have two that tie, in my opinion: Unilateral Execution, Defenestration.
Unilateral.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Something about Unilateral when I just when doing that song plus vocals, it just is dun 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 dun, and I feel like I can just watch the room. Like that's like the best muscle memory song that I have, to where I have to probably look at my guitar 5% of the time I'm playing that song, where others I'm probably like 15%, like back and forth while doing vocals and just making sure my hand placement's fine. But something about Unilateral, that feel in that song is just so ingrained. I feel invincible when I do Unilateral. I don't know what it is.
Plus the Moshi song, the crowd goes fucking crazy for that shit.
And it's just got that sick little back and forth between me and Joe. Then Joe's.
Yeah, that part's cool too.
Yeah. It mixes a lot of elements that make us like the genre and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So good.
Cool.
So let's get into that question then. So what was the we don't need to go to childhood, but what was like the one song that you guys made you want to do what you're doing?
Cannibal Corpse, Wretched Spawn was the album for me.
Yeah.
And like early 2000s death metal.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell in love with Pantera when I was a child.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal. And then to make me want to play death metal, it was a Hammer Smash Face by Cannibal Corpse. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
The same old story with everybody, like
the Ace Ventura scene,
Yeah. Ace Ventura, and I was like 5, And
that was old. That's old Cannibal Corpse too. Chris Barnes in the band and everything.
Oh yeah, dude. And I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yep.
That's what I want to listen to. And then I was trying to find that forever. I was trying to find the just that aggression and that fucking just go, go, go.
Yep.
And I wasn't finding it. I didn't find it until I was, probably quite a few years later, 10, 11, 12 years old. I started finding, Slayer and all that stuff, and kind of branching out Slipknot and all that.
We're all at that age too, where now we appreciate things more.
Oh yeah,
some things that we heard back in the 2000s were you were like, this is fucking garbage. You're in high school, you're like, fuck this stuff, and now you listen to it and you're like, fuck, I should have listened to it more. Like,
it's funny. The album that got me into metal was Reload by Metallica in like '97 when I was like 10, 11, 12,
that's like
13.
That's not even technically a metal album. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like a
but
rock
you just
album.
branch off.
Yeah, you hear Metallica, then you hear Megadeth, then you hear Pantera, and then you, for sure.
And then 5 years later, you're like, oh, what's Deicide? Ooh,
yeah.
My in was my cousin Chuck Billy. So ever since I was about 13, I've been road dogging and doing merchandise for Testament.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
So I was always surrounded by like rock and roll and heavy metal. I just wasn't processing it. Like Cannibal Corpse was subliminal, Yep. I saw that scene. We're all familiar with it. And then, that puts the seed in your head, but I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
But sometime in high school, Slipknot's Iowa just dropped, and I had a friend said we should try to play music. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, what should I play? I don't play anything. You should get a guitar. And so Slipknot was kind of that gateway into heavier stuff. But around 9th grade, and ironically, the friend of mine who showed me this was in the emo fucking music. But he's like, dude, you gotta come over and listen to this. And this is before we were about to go out skateboarding. He's like, listen to this. And it's fucking Scars of the Crucifix by Deicide.
Yep.
Yes.
And I'm all like, I don't like what? I didn't know. Like, don't worry. I was listening to Slayer at the time, but I didn't know it could get heavier than Slayer.
Oh yeah.
And then I just started doing the whole
wormhole.
Actually, so the wormhole, and I actually this is how I started doing it. Because when that Black Album was like the first album my parents like kind of bought me. And then I learned to go backwards because I found Ride the Lightning. So I was like, oh, bands have earlier catalogs. And that's the same thing with Deicide. Deicide helped open up the wormhole of everything from Morbid Angel. Yep. I even somehow came across Pious Devious Leper Lord by Mayhem. I don't know how I got there, but I fucking downloaded Soulseek after someone told me to and started pirating all kinds of shit.
And then you get the bands that are similar to this that are, those wormholes could be an evil being once you get into them, but you find some cool shit if you do it.
I'd say after Deicide though, because Deicide came Cannibal Corpse, but Nile I think was that next chapter that busted me open to even like crazy.
Nile that's my favorite death metal band. Nile, I love
Nile.
Me too.
Fucking love that.
That's awesome.
Dude, I got Monsters of Death Volume 2, and I think Sarcophagus was on it or something.
Yeah.
And then somehow shortly after that, Sacrificing the Sebek, that music video was streaming. This is when I think YouTube and music video streaming is kind of rare outside of like Yahoo videos, but like it was fucking Nile opened up that second chapter of Death Metal discovery for me.
Hell yeah, Nile opened up a lot of things for me too. That was.
By the way, speaking of opening in Nile, Wurm Flesh has opened for Nile, and we hope to open for them next year as well.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
we did. We have opened for Nile before, but you just weren't in the band.
I was there. Yeah, I was there in the audience.
There.
I was dominating the pit. Actually, not even kidding. Not even.
One of
kidding.
my favorite shows I've ever seen was the first time I saw Nile, and it was Behemoth opening, and then it was Black Dahlia, Nile, and King Diamond. And it was at it was outside at the Pound in San Francisco, and it was raining.
Man,
that was one of the baddest shows I've ever seen.
That's a great lineup.
Christ, yeah, that's fucking brutal.
What year was that, Joe? I'm trying to figure out what album Behemoth would have probably been supporting.
It was when they did Demigod and they were opening for everybody.
That was like 2003,
Oh,
2004.
that's like that's like best era Behemoth is like that.
Yeah, it was like right when they started
Yeah.
really blowing up and getting noticed. Yeah, they opened the show.
Yeah, that was. Dude, I remember watching Headbangers Ball 2 and that Century Media ad came out, and I think on that ad was it played
the Decapitated.
it had Demigod by Behemoth on there, and then it actually literally had New York heavy hitters coming back from the grave, and it was Skinless's Trample the Weak, Hurdle the Dead. Skinless was like another phenomenal find. That's probably where I started to want to write groovier death metal, was like after discovering Skinless, and that opened up the door for Dying Fetus, Index, all that. So
since you guys, how many do you guys play? A lot of shows? I mean, you guys. I know you're in 2 bands, Mitch.
Yeah.
So you play a lot of shows.
I play a shit ton of shows, and they get like, you do the wait, what, who, when, kind of thing. But I actually surprisingly do pretty well. I've only double booked once, and I felt terrible. But you got to do what you got to do. Whichever show was booked first. But that
was recently.
A lot, man. I mean, we play when we feel like it's good, or if we're doing something cool for a friend, or
we turn down a lot of shows too. By the way,
we do. I mean, we have to turn them down sometimes, but
we haven't played a show in over a month, and I'm already starting to itch. So
we took the month off.
We're kind of getting to that point where it's not that we're above anybody or above anything. It's just okay. There's 4 dudes on stage, right? We got to accommodate 2 412s. A 610 bass cab. Me and Joe are about to combine everything to a rack rig. We have to legitimately. What kind of space is there for us? So it's and not every show when you're getting to a certain level is not good. It's like we used to joke, not so much a joke, but like one of the things we used to do is we have a local dive bar called On the Y, and we love it, but it was like it's literally like, hey, we just wrote a new song.
Yeah.
We need to get the first time jitters out of our system. Let's book something like Cafe
If we fuck it up, we know that it's just whatever.
Yeah, it's just going to be in front of a bunch of homies, 15 people versus something at Harlow's opening for Crypta, or at Goldfield where it's a big stage and there's a lot of eyes on you. So those venues are good for that, but beyond that, it's just one of those things where it's like it's okay to outgrow certain venues, and it's okay to you don't fit us anymore. And we've grown accustomed to having a specific live sound. We're like, okay, we're at this level, label, management, we put out this quality of music, we invest into this quality of gear to ensure we put out this quality.
Yeah.
A venue, bro, that sucks when you go to a venue, it's like, we're going to use this bass amp as the monitor for the triggers or something.
Yeah.
It's the lowest amp. And when the sound dude doesn't know what a DI box is, and
stuff like that.
Hey, how am I supposed to mic your bass your bass drum? I have triggers.
What's a trigger?
Oh, what's a trigger? And it's like, okay, bro.
That hasn't happened in a while, but we kind of, you, like Rob was saying, it's like you got to kind of say. Sometimes we got to say no, and it's not because we're too good to play the show. It's because we can't play the show.
Why make your shit sound bad if you
can't even if you can't hear the bass drum? Why are we doing this?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, 'cause we're playing that kind of music. It's like you got to be able to hear the fucking drums. I've had a couple of sound guys be like, "You're triggering in this little room," and it's like this little room can fit 200 people. And that guy,
I trigger in my garage, motherfucker. Like,
I trigger everywhere I go.
Yeah. Bro, it sounds great in our 15 by 20 rehearsals.
Yeah, so why
fucking And it's the shit we play with. Like, this is how we play. This is our sound.
Yep.
Like, you gotta be able to accommodate that at minimum.
Well, I mean, and you gotta respect someone's opinion about what they want to sound like. It's your band.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck? You guys came to play a show. I'm not here to make you sound bad. I would want to make you sound good. I don't know why they would argue with you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, honestly, most of the time we don't have those problems.
Yeah, we don't.
It's happened, of course, but most of the time when we play, it's
smooth sailing.
Yeah, it's smooth, and we don't have to worry. It's. And the other thing about that is what I try to remember when I'm on stage is I have no control over what that sound guy's doing.
Yes.
I don't. So hopefully they mean well, and most of the time they do. So
yeah.
As soon as they hear us, sound check, they're going, okay, like this is what this is going to be.
Yeah.
So then they most of the time it's great. So I don't ask for a lot as the drummer. So you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, the drummer seems every time I go to a show, drums are hit or miss anywhere. For I don't know why. I don't know why.
But a lot of it, the room's situated.
Yeah, it just depends on the venue too. It's weird. Like I just saw Oceano and I Declare War.
Rooms aren't meant for like crushing double bass all the time constantly. They're just not meant for that.
Yeah,
that sucks because that's what we're doing. It's like but you can still find it.
Yeah,
if the sound guy cares enough, he'll find it, and luckily I feel like most of the time we're pretty lucky with that.
Yeah.
We have some pretty on point sound guys here in Sacramento too, have done well for us.
Oh yeah.
So
they give it shit.
Yeah. The old Ironsides sound guy, he seems to always do his justice, or she, whoever they are. I've always seen a couple of people switch out in that position. Dude, who was the guy at the Blue Lamp? Who used to? It was the Blue Lamp, I think.
There's a couple of guys there too, but
yeah, God, there's one guy.
That was another place that always seemed to just fall into place. Like, here you go. Like, that sounds great. Cool.
Yeah.
But we take a couple things into our own hands now too, to ensure. Like, me and Joe both have a couple 2-notes, torpedo lives with impulse responses of our cabs. So the arachnids that we play with live, those are impulse response. So that goes straight to front of house. So they no longer have to mic our cabs and guess. So and also same with and plus we're all going to an in-ear thing, so it's no longer going to be worrying about what they give us on stage monitoring. We're going to have everything in ears. So luckily there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to be able to sort of take out of the mix that we're relying on the other guy for. Like, so we just played South Lake Tahoe recently, and the sound guy, when I told him to take the guitars out of my vocal monitor because my in-ear stuff died.
Yeah.
He took my guitar out, but he left Joe's in. I'm like, dude, no guitars in this monitor.
Yeah.
So then he turned me up to where
they turned you fuck up. They're like, whoa.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I was like, no guitars right here. I'm like, bro, our cabs are only 5 feet behind us. You don't
need them.
Yeah, I would like a little vocal though, because that's one of the easiest things doing guttural vocals is easy to wash out.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, it was a great show. When I see footage of it, I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't stress. Our tone was great. We're locked in on time. It's just those in the moment things you think you're fucking up on that it's after the fact you weren't. It was all, just your mind.
The sound guys sometimes just depends on the size of the room and where they're at too, if they're new or whatever. Yeah, it just depends. So if you could have an ideal lineup for a show with you guys, I mean, headlining, opening, whatever you think who would you want to be in that?
Oh,
I'd want Suffocation on the bill.
Yeah, Suffocation, Nile, Hate Eternal, Cannibal, Deicide.
I'm trying to think of the bands that still, when they tour, they're big, but they still kind of are. It's still very intimate. Like when I saw Suffo,
Dying Fetus, of course.
Suffo, Fetus, Misery Index, Despised Icon.
Misery Index, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why my bandmates are being so nice about all this, but we all know we'd want Origin to headline.
Actually, I would, Origin would be.
Yeah, because we cannot go on after Origin.
We're going to open it, and Nile is going to play. Suffocation's going to play. It's going to be an all-star night. I don't know why we're around these corners.
Yeah, we definitely can't. We'd have to go first on this one for sure, though. But
we're not fucking headlining.
Yeah, but actually, I have always said this about us, though, and it's if we were to play on a bill like that, let's just say this imaginary bill could happen, no one would be, I feel like no one would be disappointed we opened.
No.
No one would be like, wow, that first band just didn't really hold the same energy, or that first band really is just odd for whatever. We get really good compliments on terms of the performance, the sound. There's some people that have been part of, I'm not going to say anything, but there's been some tour packages we've opened for, and we've had people like, why did you guys open?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're not part of the tour package. What the fuck's going on here? And we're just like,
We've got
like we recently opened for Crypta, and like I swear, like 400 people, and we got that crowd going like crazy, and that energy carried the entire show, man. Like,
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's good
relentless brutality.
Yeah, it's good to know when people are happy. You're like, wow, you were great. You kept the energy. We've had some people at shows we've opened for walk out on the second band like, what happened to that energy?
Yeah, it dies out certain bands. Yeah. That's crazy though. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, that's a humbling thing too. Like, I never thought we'd be at that point where people are like, you were intense. That second band wasn't intense. I'm not feeling it in there right now. Like,
Yeah.
I would have never thought we could be in a position like that.
It feels good when someone compliments anything, especially when especially when it's something you built. It's different when it's like it's something that you bought and you're like, oh, nice car. But if you built that car, you know what I'm saying? Then you're like, fuck yeah, that car's nice, dude. Yeah.
Dude, we played a show in the Bay at X Bar, and I think someone came up to like, you guys are like Dying Fetus 2.0. I'm like, I don't know how to make Dying Fetus better, but I'll take that compliment anyway, man.
That's what's up. That's just how it's
always.
We
are in no way saying we are better than Dying Fetus.
No.
But I will take the compliment. So it's like,
I will take the compliment.
Yes.
Thank you. Like, that's huge. That's
great. Yeah.
One of the great bands. One of those bands that I think anybody would love to aspire to in the music we play is to be at that kind of level.
Anytime you get a compliment in any style of the music that someone does, it's probably. I mean, I've only gotten a few compliments on my stuff, but everybody says that I write like I Declare War style guitar riffs.
Sick.
And that's one of my favorite bands. And I'm like, fuck it, cool. That's
that's
probably why I sound like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't mean to do it, but hey, cool.
I mean, we get people who are like, oh man, you're like, the genre stuff, like the labels for the fans. I mean, if someone comes up to us and says slam, tech death, which sometimes we're like, I don't know where they got the tech death from.
Yeah.
And we got technical passages, but like, I guess in terms of tech death, I think Archspire. I think
that's the first thing I think of too.
Yeah, I think
Necrophagus and Archspire.
Yeah. But there's so many bands that are actually technical.
Yes.
It's
like that's technical death metal there, and we're just like, we have like little sprinkles of it.
You guys do have sprinkles of it, even in the new stuff. You guys have like those quick little sweeps on the the higher strings, little techie stuff.
Yeah. Sprinkle in that goodness,
and then put the groove on top of it, and there you go. Fuck it.
Yeah.
What do you guys hobbies? What do you guys do outside of music? I know Rob has his amp company and all that stuff, for his cab company. So, what's a hobby? I know that's kind of a business now too. So,
yeah,
this is like my main hobby.
This is what I do, other than work, and
Well,
I play golf. I try and play golf sometimes, and I like hang out with my wife and my friends and my niece and drink beer and lift. I go to the gym. I lift weights. Like that's actually a big hobby of mine for like the last 20 years ish, 25 years.
Keep you self-care.
Yeah.
Are you still not pursuing bodybuilding, Bo? Like, are you going to compete again?
So I did the bodybuilding thing for many years. No, like I'm definitely still like in the gym every single day, but I definitely like to, and I eat pretty good, but I like to drink beer and I like to dig out too, so kind of balance that.
How many donuts did you have today?
I actually got 3 ready to go, man.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Sunday.
And I also got 3 candy bars and a 12-pack of beer, which this is number like 10.
Man, living the best life right now.
And some chicken wings.
Bo's the fittest fat guy you'll ever see.
Fittest fat guy. I like it.
Oh, and a piece of cake that my wife made.
God damn it.
All right. Oh, Bo's wife, I was like, because I know it takes time especially for the amount, but I was like, Bo, oatmeal cream pies, because she made them for their wedding. Like, what the fuck? Like, on top of getting ready for a wedding, she baked like all the goods for the wedding. They had these homemade oatmeal cream pies, and those have been my kryptonite since I was a kid, dude. I used to steal those from the little corner store. They're like 25 cents at the
Yep.
time. They're the big. I used to steal those, sadly. And I was like, Bo, what would $50 get me? He's like a couple dozen. Like, fuck yeah.
I'll give you
So
$100 then.
They are so good, man. They're
Yeah.
fucking addicting.
Dude, Bo's so lucky. Naja, like, he's got like a fucking Betty Crocker baker in his kitchen.
If I didn't work out, I would be obese.
Oh yeah.
Obese.
You gotta
The
way my
counterbalance
appetite
that eating habit with the workout.
Mhm.
Bo's the fattest person I know in a shredded body. I've known Bo for a long time, and like
Yeah.
this motherfucker used to get excited about going to Carl's Jr. You know what I mean? I've known Bo a long time. We get real high, and then like, whoa, what are we gonna eat?
Get like 2 value meals just for myself.
Yeah. And he's not a small guy in any, he's a big boy, so man's got to
Gotta feed
eat.
the machine, man.
Yeah, man's got to eat.
Oh,
That's pleasure in my life is food. That's for damn sure.
What about you, Joe? You haven't said much.
Dude, mostly just music. I like old hot rods and stuff like that. I'm an automotive painter and shit, so
Okay.
shit like that.
Awesome. Oh yeah. All right, so
Come on, Joe.
What's up?
I said, keep talking, man. You haven't said shit.
yeah.
I don't feel like I'm
Joe
part of
has
the
a story, man.
there, man.
Fine.
yeah, just keep. Do you have any? What else do you do?
You worked, your hobby is working merch for your cousin.
Yeah, that was cool, but that was a long time ago. I got
Yeah.
crazy stories with that shit, but
I bet. Shit.
You should actually have a sit down interview with
and
Joe for that
I used
shit,
to do
bro.
merch. I did merch a little bit for strapping too, so hanging around
Oh,
Devin.
man.
That
I
was
have a
pretty
story about
crazy.
strapping that I would have to save for another time too, because that shit was ridiculous. That's just
Yeah,
long story short, he snot rocketed on a chick in the front row because she said something bad to him, and he's all fucking just snot all over her head. And
Wait.
started playing. I was like, that is fucking amazing,
Bro, was that when they were here in Sac?
No, it was at the Pound in San Francisco.
Bro,
Dude,
I
I
just
remember
saw this last year.
one time, I guess the venue that they were playing, he was getting a lot of emails from local bands saying how the venue owner would rip off local bands.
Yeah.
So when they got on stage, Devin just started ripping this owner dude, just ripping him, just talking crap, getting the crowd all pumped up on him.
Riot style,
And
man.
the owner dude, was listening and got all mad and shut the show down.
Oh, fuck that.
Totally shut it down. And then next thing you know, the whole crowd had this owner dude in a stairwell. Just like cornered him, like the whole crowd, like a couple hundred people had this dude cornered, demanding their money back, or they're gonna fuck him up.
Wow.
And then the cops showed up, and it was like this big big ordeal and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
They had like biker dudes lighting M80s and throwing them at the cops and stuff, and it was a wild day.
Crazy. Shows back in the day were so much more fun than I don't know what it is now. I think it's coming back around to where things are starting to come back to like that early 2000s. Like
There's resurgence.
I don't give a fuck
Especially
on
in the
jumping off the
thrash
stage.
field.
Yeah, like shit was so fucking boring for like 8 years, 10 years, and then all of a sudden now everybody's like, "Fuck it, let's just do it again." I don't know what it is, but
No, you're right. There's a resurgence in
weird.
the last couple of years, man.
I remember playing shows in 2011 and 12 where people were just standing there. No matter how much energy was in the room, they'd still just stand there. And then now you see videos online of like Peeling Flesh and all these other bands where dudes are just going fucking ham.
Yeah,
Like I want to see that again, man. Like
I've seen some shows, and we've opened for a couple of these shows. Like the most violent room I've ever seen was Dying Fetus at one of our local places called the Holy Diver, and we were lucky enough to open the show. And then I just finished packing up my drum kit. I came upstairs, was just like, all right, Dying Fetus is going to start, and they had already started. And I mean, it was just pure violence in this room. So I think it depends on where you are,
that's true. Yeah.
It's like, goddamn.
So, and that show was actually, so we had a couple things against us, but that just shows you who the true underground extreme metal head fans are, because It was a Thursday. I think the tickets were $30-ish. And down the street the same night at Ace of Spades was Machine Head on their final farewell with Phil Demmel run. So we were
Phil sold
competing
that room
with
out.
yeah, we were competing with Machine Head with their last run with Phil Demmel at Ace, which was only blocks away, and we still, God, we sold 70 something tickets. That room had to have 100 heads in it, and
It's
yeah,
a small room.
and it was violent. And God, that stage made it to where I think Trey's kit was still backline, so we had to literally butt up to the front of the stage, man. We literally only had like a foot, and not that we were in a position to get mad, but we're kind of like, God damn, this sort of sucks. Like this much room, we can't.
When you got guitars and you got 4 people standing or 3, you know, you can't fit nothing, man. You can't move.
But you know,
so was it Toxic Holocaust and Havoc?
I don't know. I kind of always feed off that pre-show frustration though. Like, if I'm a little pissed off, dude, we're about to play
a fucking set, bro. Let's get it.
You know, it's just like,
and it's actually true. That's exactly where I was going with that anecdote.
Those frustrations will come out in those vocals, those drums for sure.
Yeah, we're coming hard if we're a little, you know, it's like just a little bit of hate, and then we're about to fuck this room up, man.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just been like with the room on stage, it's just like, where you gonna stand? I don't know. I got no room. Well, I need my shit up here. And like even that, like it's just like I said, it's funny enough. It's those little bits of stage turmoil that turn the aggression on. And so Jonny, actually, I was just texting. So Richard, who was our original dedicated frontman, but you know, after I gave up vocals. His sister Brittany, the strapping young lad, had played at the boardwalk here in Sacramento. She also got snot rocketed on.
God, that must have been his thing, dude. I'm telling you,
that must have been his fucking thing, bro.
Because it was literally like I was in the front row, standing next to the other guitar player, like in front of him, and these girls were just Valley girls talking shit the whole time, not listening to him. Kind of were like just doing their own thing. And then she said something to when they stopped playing. She said something about like, look at his fucking hair, some dumb shit like that. And he was all, fuck you. And then they started playing the song. I was like, what the fuck?
That's
like,
great. Yeah, I had to ask Richard. I was like, bro, didn't Brittany get snot rocketed on at a show? And he's like, yeah. I was like, was that an SF at the pad? I was like, no, that was the boardwalk.
It must be his shit then. Like,
he probably.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
Devin was a fucking brutal motherfucker back then, so who knows?
You
like,
could say the wildest shit on stage,
dude.
Wow.
Every time, get your pussies ready for something. Like every time, it was something.
I just saw him live. I saw him live last year with the theater, and he was saying some weird shit on stage. Man.
They always do,
bro. And when you see him at NAMM, if you ever run into him at NAMM, he's very like, hi guys.
Oh,
I just gotta go. He'll nerd out if he's not busy.
Yes,
he was at the Zoom booth, like the ZOOM booth or whatever, where they're having effects because he's got some stuff from them, which is like about a booth and a half from us. Every time I saw him, he stopped, he talked, very just like.
Oh, he's gentle.
you could tell whatever he had to do, which he says in interviews, like he was very emotionally attached to his music, which just, I don't know if that's a good thing for everybody. I don't know how emotionally attached you want to be to aggressive music that talks about some fucking wicked ass shit.
Yeah, that might do some fucking turmoil in your brain a little bit.
Yeah, but it's I would not want to be in a mental state to where like what I write about and play about is like how
you live.
I would not want that to be a reflection of how I'm really feeling. I mean, I could pull experiences from things like the world, certain personal things, but beyond that, I would not want to be the person in my mind that I put on paper.
Oh no, yeah. That's why there's always those memes of metal people on stage they're obese, and at the store they're buying fucking cupcakes, and they just what it is.
Yeah, George Fisher winning all those stuffed animals.
Yeah, just
doing the claw
machine. Right?
He's like a claw machine master.
The claw.
Hey guys, I gotta head out in here in a couple minutes. FYI.
Just like you, Bo, on interviews at shows, I gotta go, guys. I gotta get in bed by 7:30.
My niece is coming in here in about I don't know, 7 minutes.
That's all right.
This one ends in 7 minutes anyway, so it's perfect.
Sweet, Bo. Yeah.
So yeah, any last things you guys want to? Anybody want to thank? Anybody? Any sort of plug you want to put out for anything else, or?
The biggest one would be follow us on our Spotify. I mean, our Instagram, Threads, all that shit.
Yeah,
Follow
I have like 10 links for all of your stuff.
Cool.
You guys will all be linked
Oh, yeah.
personally. And then I even have your metal archives. I have YouTube stuff. I have Shop USA for your merch. I have a lot of big cards.
Yeah, put our personal Instagrams on there, or at least mine.
I'll get everybody's on there.
Soon, you'll be able to get our merch through Indie Merch as well.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I was gonna ask that too because I have Shop USA and I also have Big Cartel.
Yeah, right now, but we're about to have our stuff on Indie Merch once we pay some setup fees for that we have. But beyond that, I want to, for anybody to plug, I first off want to thank my wife for not fucking killing me for investing in the shit I do. I guess part of that was getting a good job to help pay for it, but I want to thank my wife for understanding and whatnot. And I want to thank anybody who listens to us, has found us a fan, anybody who supports Wurm Flesh, Arachnid, and the guys. We couldn't do this music without each other, and everyone's a fucking trooper and a fucking superhero what they do on their
awesome. Hell yeah.
So
hell yeah.
And for hooking me up and giving me a spot, man. At a time when I really needed it, for real.
Hell yeah, brother.
It happens for a reason.
Yep.
The universe was reaching out to you.
The past 2 years have been pretty awesome.
Hell yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
I think this is definitely the best iteration of Wurm Flesh so far. Tonality, heavy, just the track forward for how we want to move forward professionally. I think this has been so far the best iteration, and
not to mention our relationships with each other.
Yeah,
hell yeah,
good shit.
Well, Bo's really good at tickling my balls, so
that's always a plus when you got somebody.
With my tongue.
Dude,
with my tongue.
I mean, you only get a bassist every once in a millennia.
You got to take advantage of what he does. You know what I mean?
And for how big and buff he is, he's gentle.
You never.
Big gummy bear.
The hands don't matter. It's just how. Yeah, it's just practice.
Keeps his nails clean.
That's the key, man.
What do you say, Rob? You only turn your back on the homies when it's doggy style?
Yeah, I only turn my back on the homies when it's doggy style.
Oh, man. Well, I just want to say thank you guys for doing the interview. I appreciate you guys. I'm excited to hear your guys' shit coming up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that I put all your guys' shit on this links and get everything hooked up. It might take a couple months to get it actually up there.
Yeah.
Because we still have I did stuff for the 9 and now this one's coming out, so we're kind of putting both up. Cool. But I'll make sure I keep in contact with you guys and all that stuff. When it comes out, I'll make sure I link everybody in it, and this will be on my YouTube and all that stuff too. So
dope. Really appreciate it.
But I appreciate you guys. Thank you. It's nice to meet everybody.
Yep.
We'll keep in contact though. We'll be homies now. So.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. If we get on this Nile show that's coming up later this year, man, just come on out. We'll guest list you on.
Oh, for sure. That'd be awesome. Hell yeah. Cool. I'm down for that. Well, I appreciate you guys. So you guys have a good night and the rest of your.
You too.
Yeah, let's do this, man. Right on.
Later, dude.
All right, bro. Talk to you guys later, man.
Right on,
guys.
Take care, guys. Bye.